Okay, we have the sound. Okay, can we hear yet?
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Somebody...
Let us know. Somebody tell us.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now we can hear.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's try this again. Welcome, everybody. We could meditate on, sit quietly, meditate on uncertainty, not sure, not a sure thing. Being able to mindfully adapt to circumstances as one experiences them. And that's always there's always an opportunity for reflecting on Dhamma, reflecting on the Buddhist teachings. But it is important to have a kind of basic, fundamental settling, composing of the heart. I think that's when we think, okay, let's sit meditation and we'll sit samadhi. It's much more around that composing of the heart, a settling of the mind, and taking the opportunity to allow the kind of natural rhythm of the breath, actually the natural rhythm of the mind. I mean, it's we jump through a lot of hoops to make our minds complicated and entangled, and this being able to encourage the mind to settle. It's like just like that, the basic, like breathing out. It's a settling. And then moving into that space as we attend to the posture, sitting up upright, but just softening, relaxing, and then allowing this whole body mind system to settle. But that doesn't mean we drift. We're settling, but we're also lifting attention up into into consciousness, being consciously aware of the movement of the mind, the kind of the tone or feeling tone, and just letting things, recognizing kind of a space and a feeling of ease, uncluttered, untroubled, unentangled. So we can just sit quietly for a bit and just allow things to untangle. Okay, so so just as a kind of a direction reminder for our practice, just recollecting the three characteristics of existence: anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self. This is it's always pointed to as a basis of insight. The Buddha's insight is sort of encompasses this aspect of recognizing fundamental characteristics of the world around us, our inner world, our emotional world, and to remind ourselves and to try to recollect, to see this quality of impermanence, change, uncertainty, unsatisfactoriness, dis-ease, stress, and the aspect of not self. They're tied up with each other. They are aspects of each other. They're just sort of fundamental truths, and they're displayed in with those characteristics. And it's so important to turn our attention to that and to allow that reality to penetrate the heart. Because what happens when we see that or recognize that is that we're willing to let go, we're willing to relinquish, we're willing to release our grip on things, because that's this fundamental, say, cause of our suffering and discontent is this kind of grasping, clinging, holding on, should be this way, shouldn't be that way, I want it this way, I don't want it that way, why this, why not that, why me? And so, it can be all kind of just dropped into the pool of anicca, dukkha, anatta. It's like this, and there's an ease there. It's not that everything's anicca, dukkha, anatta, everything's impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self, and therefore it's miserable, awful, calamitous, disastrous. No, it's just the way things are, and it is when we we loosen our grip we're willing to relinquish, willing to let go, that's when we can experience kind of a clarity and ease and well-being. It's not, it's like getting what we want is it's not necessarily like I want to be wise, I want to be peaceful, I want to be happy, and of course, who doesn't? But when we get it, if we're still grasping and clinging, we're going to look for something else, or we're going to be dissatisfied, or we're going to be doubting. So it's being able to see things in their true nature gives us the opportunity to experience ease and well-being, clarity. And so it's that the fostering and supporting this basis of letting go, of relinquishing, and it's not like, oh, I'm going to let go and relinquish, and what if I don't have anything? And that isn't how it works. It's that letting go in order to have the clarity and spaciousness to respond skillfully to the world. So there's these reflections on impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self, or you're not trying to bludgeon the mind into believing it. It's just just recognizing, this is the way things are, and being able to tuning in, because it's the one of the, as long as there is still this kind of grasping or clinging, whether we experience, say, happiness, or whether we experience unhappiness, we're it'll still be unsatisfactory until we're able to have some release and relinquishment. And so that Ajahn Chah sort of saying, happiness and unhappiness, they're of equal value. They're the same in the sense that they tend to be objects of clinging, objects of delusion, and so then that is a sense of seeing whatever we experience. How do we hold it? What kind of view do we have? And what are we trying to make it be, or trying to get out of it? So it's a sense of seeing clearly, and that's the basis of the Buddha's teachings. Whether it's we're practicing sila, virtue, integrity, samadhi, of settling, collecting the mind, bringing the mind to a place of stability, or the aspects of wisdom and discernment. They're all for the purpose of seeing clearly and relinquishing, releasing. It's on a certain level, it's a pretty simple, straightforward practice, goal, teaching. The problem is we're not very straightforward, and so we're good at complicating things. That sense of complication, the what's called papancha, sometimes called say proliferation, objectification, but complication as well is another valid translation, and the that sense and opportunity to turn to non-complication, non-proliferation. It's not adding layers onto our experience, whether it's layers of the preference of liking, wanting, approving, or whether it's a kind of not liking it, not approving, rejecting. Those movements of mind are what are just adding layers to our experience that just aren't needed. It's not necessary. So one of the images that Ajahn Chah used one time that I really love was he said it's the image of the sea, and he didn't really see the sea very very often. The northeast of Thailand is pretty landlocked, but he said it's like the shore of the sea, of the ocean. It's the waves come in, and he said, but the shore is always there. It's kind of steady. And he said, and it's like that's the nature of the mind. There's these waves, the ripples, the movement of impermanence, of unsatisfactoriness, of not self, and that it come in. The waves come in, they break, they go back out again, but what is there? He said we have to be like the shore that receives all of this phenomena. Again, it's whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, whether it's wanted or unwanted, whether we like it or don't like it. Just recognizing it's impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self-nature, and just be the shore, be the knowing that can see that arise and see it cease, see it come, see it go, and it has the, as he said, as Ajahn Chah says, it has the same value, whether it's happy, unhappy, pleasant, unpleasant. It has the same value in the sense that it's impermanent, it's unsatisfactory, it's not self, and it so we can know this, we can recognize it, and not be shaken, not be moved. We can be the receiver of that. So and whether it's in our day-to-day life or whether it's in our formal meditation, practicing with that, lifting up those images of just being the one who knows, being that knowing, and just returning to that the heart base of this quality of knowing, say the mind or the heart, the citta, that recognizes, sees clearly. And I was telling, we were talking the other night at tea time, and telling Ajahn Karunadhammo and Thai about an occasion where Ajahn Sumedho was still a young monk, and he went with Ajahn Chah and another senior disciple of Ajahn Chah, Ajahn Mahamon, and they went up and paid respects to the various senior forest masters. And one of the monks that they went to visit was Luang Por Pasanno, who was quite elderly at the time, and he's one of the senior disciples of Ajahn Mun. He was still alive, and widely regarded as an arhat, as a fully awakened being. And Ajahn Chah and Ajahn Mahamon were chatting and talking with Luang Por Pasanno, and Ajahn Sumedho had, he was, he knew of the Luang Por Pasanno's reputation, and then he saw Ajahn Chah and Ajahn Mahamon. They had this tremendous respect towards him, and they had this very engaging conversation, but it was all in the northeastern dialect, which Ajahn Sumedho at that couldn't really follow, and of course Ajahn Luang Por Pasanno being older, he was also like just a bit archaic in his language. Plus, he had a mouthful of betel nut, so he said he didn't understand anything that was going on. He was quite disappointed that he didn't understand. It was obvious that Ajahn Chah and Ajahn Mahamon were just delighting in the exchange and getting to experience this great master firsthand. And he felt he was really missing out, and kind of frustrated. And anyway, so the occasion kind of passed. They took their leave, and Ajahn Chah sort of left. First, of course, being senior, then Ajahn Sumedho was the last to be going out from that space. And as he was leaving, then Luang Por Pasanno kind of got up really quickly from his seat. He was quite spry for somebody as old as he was, and came over to him, right up to him, and just said, and pointed to his heart and said, "It's all here. It's all here." And it was just, and he said that really shifted his because he realized, maybe I don't need to know absolutely everything. Maybe I don't, and all of the reactions that I have, or trying to get things. In the end, it's all just this heart that we need to be open to learn from, to return to. and we can be content within that, and being content within the knowing, not complicating, not proliferating, not entangling, and that nippa pancha, say non-complication, non-proliferation, non-objectification. And the Buddha points to things that are the basis of the proliferation or complication, and points to three kind of roots of the mind: tanha, ditthi, and mana. And so that the tanha, of course, desire, clinging, grasping, craving. Ditthi is this views and opinions. You see that tendency to have an opinion about something, have to take a stand somehow, have to stand up for something, or so, the kind of got to have a view about something. Is it right? Is it wrong? It should be this way. It shouldn't be that. And usually that precludes reflecting carefully on, well, what are the actual conditions? What are the nuances of circumstance? What are the nuances of the way things are manifesting? We want to sort of jump to an opinion really quickly, jump to a view, a stand somehow, and that complicates. It objectifies, turns it into an object. That is, of course, as soon as something is an object, it's completely bound up with its uncertainty, its arising and its ceasing, and unsatisfactoriness. So tanha, ditthi, mana. Mana is that the I position, the self identity, trying to take a stand of me being somebody, me being somebody better, me being somebody worse, me having some position, or me, or what about me? That feeling of trying to affirm, that trying to become. You see that, so often you see that in our minds, in our hearts, when we're that movement of mind, the movement of heart, trying to establish itself as an identity, as an entity, as something substantial that fixes a position or fixes a point within, and you realize, well, do we need to do that, or is it just more complication, more creating an objectifying of a me, assumption of me? And that's problematic, because it is then something that is built up that is bound to collapse, and then we look for something else, and then wonder why we're tired all the time. So it's this recognizing not the benefits of non-complication. It doesn't mean we don't feel anything or experience anything, but just seeing it for what it is, seeing it as, oh, this is more impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self stuff. We can learn from it. We can understand it. We can sometimes use it skillfully, and that's that's kind of one of the functions of wisdom. How do we use our circumstances skillfully? How do we uh, uh, see things clearly so that we are able to manifest wisdom, purity, compassion, the kind of the qualities of, or the virtues of, say, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So it's just seeing things in a different way. That's these perspectives are available to us, and we, it's just like encouraging ourselves, training ourselves, recognizing the limitations that we do have, but then also recognizing the opportunity. We can be that shore that doesn't move, the waves of things that change and are unsatisfactory. We can experience them, and we can receive them kind of gracefully, steadily, not being shaken by things. And it's not having to push away anything or negate anything. It's just being present. And or as Luang Por Pasanno, just being right here, coming back to the heart. So this is a there's a simplicity to that is important to recognize, because we tend to assume that because something is say profound, and the wisdom of the Buddha is profound, the wisdom of the teachings are profound, but we sometimes assume because it is profound, then it is complicated, or it's difficult to access somehow. And the reality is that it is it's actually rather quite straightforward, and being able to return to a place of Nimita, non-proliferation, non-complication. So I'll offer that for reflection this evening, and take a look and see if there's any questions.
Been one above that.
There's another up above that.
I think they're not quite sure. Maybe not. Okay, I guess that's the first one down
there. People tend to value outward productivity, not spiritual practice. How do we determine when we are doing enough and maintaining a healthy balance between outward productivity and inner cultivation? Not suffering. That's a good sign. That not non-complication. when things are feeling a bit more straightforward. And so that's an aspect, and yeah, it's quite true that people do value the outward productivity, and if we're trying to determine, are we doing enough, I can assure you that you'll always come up short and feel that you're not doing enough because you're trying to measure it, and that just the actual aspect of measuring and quantifying, you're going to come up short because it's being measured by say desire, by being measured by trying to be measured by a worldly standard. So that the reflection on, are we, say, not suffering? Are we not complicating? That tends to free up a lot of kind of energy and time to get things done. And whether it's get things done in terms of our inner cultivation or get things done in terms of outward productivity, then yeah, things happen. The Buddha certainly got a lot of things done. Ajahn Chah got a lot of things done. And it's their spiritual practice was front and center. But it was, how do you say, it was it's, you got to have to, how do you say, in a classical sense or in a scriptural sense, right view really has to be paid attention to. Having that view that, and that recognizes, and that's how the Buddha defines right view. The view that there is suffering, there is cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, path leading to cessation of suffering. That's a transcendent right view. So that not looking at things through a personal lens, but looking at things through a experiential or a phenomenological view. Also, say, right view from even from a worldly perspective, is stepping back from the personal and looking at things through the lens of action and results of actions. There is the fruits of good and bad actions. There is giving, there is sharing. There are people who have received the fruits of their practice. And so that there is this fundamental law of cause and effect, cause and condition. Looking at the lens, through the lens of say, not personal, not me, overlaying things. Those are some reflections on that. What is the difference between space and emptiness according to Buddhism? Well, space is a, say, from, and this is particularly from the say, Theravada perspective. Space is say in terms of an element of say in the so like a lack of something, or space that's defined by the physical elements, so that the space of I mean, it classically is sort of the space in the ears, the space in the nose, the space even kind of empty space, which is bound by the elements. So it's kind of part and parcel of the elements, but it is within itself. There's the four primary elements, the Buddha points out, and there's the element of space, akasa dhatu, and that's so there is this kind of empty spaces that are there, and they're a bit more defined by the physical elements. The emptiness, in terms of sunyata, is emptiness of self. This is where one, when the experience of a relinquishment of that self position, the relinquishing of the I making, mind making. So emptiness is emptiness from the Theravada Buddhist perspective is the result of an insight into anatta, seeing not self clearly, being able to not be driven by that self position, experiencing the emptiness of the self position. So, how would you describe Nimita, and is it necessary for attaining jhana? Generally, with the classical definition of nimitta just means sign, and it's used in the commentarial literature to kind of denote a experience of oftentimes it's light, or an image of some sort, and although it could be touch as well, but it's this generally it's classically sort of defined more as a visual experience, something that is seen in the mind's eye, and it could be a color and starts to sort of take a certain shape or form itself. But that's as I say, it's commentarial, and is it necessary for attaining jhana? Not really. And again, it's having to sort of clarify one's understanding of jhana, because if you're trying to get jhana according to the commentaries, then you need nimitta. But it's I think the Buddha's approach in the suttas is much broader in terms of jhana, and I think one of the fundamental basis of experience of jhana is this well-being, ease, a directing of attention. I mean, think in terms of just when the Buddha describes the approach to jhana, the we kehi ka mehi we ka akusalehi damehi. So secluded or secluded or withdrawn from sensuality, from sensual pleasure, for sensual desire, and secluded or withdrawn from unwholesome mental states. That's your basis for approach to jhana. So that one is pulling back from the five hindrances, and then your components of moving toward jhana, or settling, or composing. Vitaka, vijara, the initial movement of mind, application of mind with vichara, joy, happiness, and a equanimity or stability. So that those there's the mind is picking up an object. It's looking at it a bit more clearly. It's staying with it, and it's a source of joy and well-being, happiness, and then evenness of mind. So that is an entry point. So that's a perspective to reflect on. Question: is Ajahn Sudanto coming back? Well, coming back, yes. Is he staying? No. What Ajahn Sudanto's plans are that we're going to be leaving here. The three of us will be leaving on Monday, the 25th. And Ajahn Sudanto will be arriving at night of the 27th. And then he will be here for a few days, tying up various things. He'll be here, so 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. So which will be like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday in particular, he will be here to available people to visit. And then Monday
at the meal time.
At the meal time, yeah. And then Monday he'll be heading up to Birken, where he will be spending the winter. And the hermitage will be empty for about a month. And then there will be another group of monks coming from Abhayagiri, Ajahn Kasapo, Ajahn Chunda, Ajahn Titapanyo. These three Ajahns will come up. And on, I think it's the 29th of November, and then we'll be here through the winter. Okay. Thank you, Paul. Your reflections are very helpful. I've been plagued by not enough in capitals as a destructive inner dialogue. Yes, I mean that is the reality. Nothing's ever enough, and which is why the Buddha's teaching on tanha being or desire, craving, thirst, being the source of dukkha. It's sort of it's this not enough, and even when everything's going well for us, it's not enough. Even when the mind is peaceful, sort of, it always looks and so not enough. So it's that's why this contemplation, investigation, knowing things as they are, allows us to loosening the grip of that. And okay, how do I work with the hindrances in meditation? I think one of the things in terms of working with the hindrances, of course, the hindrances of basic 5 hindrances: sense desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness, worry, and skeptical doubt. Those are your 5 basic hindrances. And I think one of the things, just as a suggestion, to reflect on the element of course, the element of unsatisfactoriness within it, but also what is that hindrance trying to get? What is it trying, or what is it trying to? What kind of suffering is it trying to ameliorate, or cover over, or compensate for? And you realize, it's our minds are looking for ways out of discomfort, and then we do it in we're looking to gratify or settle or something. That, of course, sense desire is easy. It's just trying to get some kind of pleasure, but it's it's complicated. Ill will is usually just where that ill will is directed at something is thwarting our well-being. So that ill will goes out to something that it's seeing, trying to blame or find fault with, or trying to it's upset with, but it's covering over a fundamental dissatisfaction or suffering. So it's being able to look at that suffering. Sloth and torpor is often just this: I don't want to exist. I just want, how do I zone out and not have to deal with this? And then the hindrances play themselves out. And so looking at that, what's those roots of suffering? What is it trying to get? So there's a certain compassion of listening to what the heart is trying to deal with, and usually not in the most wise way, but we have to look at it. We have to see it more clearly.
Yeah, just a quick little addition from my own practice and in contemplating the hindrances, that in addition to what you have just mentioned, looking at the root, as I go through the hindrances, or kind of surveys their presence or absence in a particular period of meditation, and then going examining the root, also kind of asking the question to bring it into a more positive reflection of, like, what would it be like to be free of anger, or what would it be like to be free of ill will, or what would it be like to be free of sense desire? And just coming up with some, well, there are times when we are free of the hindrances, and remembering what that's like. So, what is it like to be free of sense desire? Oh, it's really, you feel contented, you feel at ease. Or what's it like to be free of irritation or aversion? Wow, you feel a sense of warmth or kindness. So going through the hindrances and just asking that question, well, what's it like when I'm not feeling this way? Or
and to actually notice that we're not always full of hindrances.
So it's kind of nice, because once you do that and attend to what it might be like to be absent of the hindrances, and the mind just kind of really settles quite naturally.
Yeah. It's really important to be able to do that, because it's just such a, again, we look at ourselves as flawed, hopeless cases all the time, but realize, well, that's not the case. I say, I'm not experiencing ill will right now. I'm not experiencing, doubt. And that's okay. There's a freedom from hindrance. This is what it feels like. Yeah, great. Okay. Is it normal to experience an intensification of desire after doubling your time in meditation practice? I don't know if I must continue or reduce the amount of effort. Please guide me. Well, it's, is it normal? Probably not. Is it ordinary? Oh, absolutely. So it's, yes, oftentimes that's the case, because one of the things when we are, intent, we're amplifying or putting a bit more effort in, there is also resistance comes up, and then it, and that resistance is desire comes out, and that's but it's triggered by our our kind of our effort, and sometimes that sometimes it's helpful to, this is reflecting on right effort, in that, because sometimes our effort is intensified, but sometimes it's not right effort. And because right effort is also sometimes like knowing how to relax as well, or knowing how to let go is right effort. So it's right effort is kind of nuanced and balanced. But and we only learn this by through experience and experimenting. But that sense of right effort is, it's important to recognize that it's not just how much we do or how ardent we are, but how skillful we are. And part of right effort is relinquishing or letting go of the unskillful, and or the turning to what, lifting up something that is skillful, which is sometimes is a balancing effort. Okay.
Non-complication.
Non-complication. Okay. Okay. Rupa, would you please comment on Satipatthana as a mode to samatha?
Samadhi.
To samadhi. Yeah, that's your fundamental foundation for samadhi. The Majjhima 44, the questions with
Chula Vedala.
so Chula Vedala Sutta, questions with Dhammadina, the Bhikkhuni Dhammadina, and talking about samadhi, or about one-pointedness of mind. Samadhi is composure of mind, ekakata citta. So the unification of the mind. And Satipatthana is its foundation, basis, and then the four right efforts are its equipment. So that, samadhi is developed through this coming together, composing, settling, with the four foundations of mindfulness as the as a basis, or as its fundamental root, and the four right efforts as the kind of the equipment. So it's a great answer and a great guidance for all of us. So it is about 8 o'clock, and I think we'll wrap it up. And wish you all well. One more session Friday morning,
Right.
For anybody, and then we will be closing up the studio.
Yeah, for the month, that just as part of an announcement here, I guess. For the month of November, there won't be any live streams from Pacific Hermitage. When Ajahn Kasapo, Ajahn Chinda, and Ajahn Titapanyo arrive, I asked Ajahn Chinda today in an email, what was he planning, so I could let people know. And he hasn't made any definite plans, but it being the winter retreat time and the three of them coming to look for some intensified simplification, Ajahn Chinda is toying with the idea of maybe a live stream once every couple of weeks. But if you're interested in tuning in, if it does happen, just stay in tune with the website, and announcements will be forthcoming about that as time goes on.
Okay. Wish you all well. Huh? Oh, right. Yeah, on Friday. Yes, right. 7:15. So that we'll start about 15 minutes later, just at 7:15, so that we've got a bit of time to have a cup of tea and not be too rushed. Okay. Take care, everyone.